If you have about $1,000 a month, what would life look like in a Western European country? It's the version you see in travel brochures, not the Instagram highlight reel, but real-life rent, daily meals, and the rhythm of ordinary days. And there's another question Americans often whisper to each other. Are Belgian women really as beautiful as people say, or is that just a stereotype repeated so often that we forget to ask a deeper question? How do people here actually live, and how does this society truly function? Let's be clear from the start, this is not a video about a cheap paradise. Belgium is not cheap. You won't live like a king, and there are no sugar-coated promises here. But there is something that makes many people stay. This video is not about being cheap. It's about how a society works when people are not forced to run just to survive every day. When dignity doesn't come from earning more, but from living at a slower, more human pace. If you want to know what $1,000 a month really buys you in Belgium and what lies behind the rumors, watch until the end. Comment. If you're staying with me for the entire journey. 1. Belgium, a small country with great weight. Belgium may look modest on the map, but its position tells a very different story. Sitting in the heart of Western Europe, Belgium is a true cultural crossroads where Latin and Germanic worlds meet, overlap, and quietly coexist. Borders here are not just lines on a map, they are layers of history, language, and identity. Despite its size, Belgium carries enormous political weight. It is home to the headquarters of the European Union and NATO, making it one of the most influential decision-making centers in the world. Policies that shape millions of lives across continents are debated and decided in cities that still feel walkable, human, and surprisingly calm. With a population of around 11.8 million people. Belgium is densely populated but far from overwhelming. The country officially recognizes 3 languages, Dutch, French, and German, a reflection of how diversity here is not a slogan, but a daily reality woven into education, governance, and everyday life. The climate plays its own quiet role. Belgium has a temperate oceanic climate, mild winters, gentle summers, and frequent rain. The sun doesn't always shine brightly, but life doesn't rush to compensate for it either. Mornings often begin under soft gray skies, streets move at a steady pace, and people adapt not by resisting the weather, but by settling into it. In Belgium, you don't need blazing sunshine to feel warm. 2. Belgian women and a modern society. When people talk about Belgian women, the conversation often starts with appearance. Brown or blonde hair, fair skin, balanced features, a familiar image of modern Europe. But that is only the outer layer. If you stop there, you miss what truly matters. What really defines Belgian women is not how they look, but how they stand within society. From an early age, women here are encouraged to study, work, speak up, and make decisions about their own lives. Independence is not a loud statement. It is a normal condition almost taken for granted. Education plays a central role. Belgian women participate widely in higher education and are present across fields ranging from science and healthcare to law and politics. And this presence is not symbolic. In reality, around 43% of parliamentary seats in Belgium are held by women, a figure that reflects genuine influence, not token representation. The gender pay gap in Belgium is among the lowest in Europe at around 5% per hour worked. It is not perfection, but it is the result of decades of consistent policy, clear legislation, and a welfare system that treats equality as a foundation rather than a privilege. Gender equality laws in Belgium are not merely words on paper. They are supported by enforcement mechanisms, social protections, and cultural norms that make long-term discrimination difficult to sustain. Women have real choices in careers, family life, and personal paths without constantly having to justify those choices. And this is where the real difference lies. Here, women don't need to impress, they already have a place. 3. Architecture, the soul of Belgium. To understand Belgium, you don't start with its people. You start with its walls, its squares, and its rooftops. Because here, architecture is not something to admire from a distance. It is how the country remembers itself. That journey often begins in Brussels. At the heart of the capital lies the Grand Place, one of the most beautiful squares in Europe. Its richly carved facades, gilded details, and ornate guildhouses tell a story of power, craftsmanship, and professional pride dating back to the 17th century. Every window and pointed roof speaks quietly of a society where value was built through skill and discipline, not spectacle. Just a short distance away, the Atomium rises as a striking contrast. Built for the 1958 World's Fair, it reflects post-war optimism, faith in science progress, and the future. Surrounded by steel and glass, you sense a Belgium willing to step forward without severing ties to its past. Leaving Brussels behind, Bruges appears like a perfectly preserved slice of the Middle Ages. Largely untouched by modern destruction, its architecture is not a reconstruction, but a living original. Red-brown brick houses, sloping roofs, and stone bridges arching over quiet canals slow time itself. In Bruges, architecture is not locked inside museums. It is lived in, walked through daily, and echoed in the sound of church bells each morning. In Ghent, you feel a clear dialogue between Gothic grandeur and everyday life. Cathedrals, castles, and monumental religious buildings stand alongside cafés, universities, and riverside paths where students gather. History here is not separated from the present. Religion, scholarship, and civic life are woven together, creating a city that feels both ancient and alive, where the past continues to speak rather than being sealed away. Then there is Antwerp, a city of fashion, creativity, and movement. Here, architecture is unafraid to evolve. Antwerp Central Station is not merely a place of arrivals and departures. It feels like a grand opera house. Iron, glass, and marble come together to form a space that is both monumental and refined. Beneath it runs a modern railway system, while above the elegance of the late 19th century remains intact. A seamless connection between old and new. From power to memory, from faith to innovation. Belgian architecture never stands still. It shapes daily life, sets the rhythm of movement, and quietly reminds people where they come from. In Belgium, architecture is not meant to be admired, it is meant to be lived with. Rhythm of life and the people. Life in Belgium doesn't move fast, but it doesn't stand still either. It flows at a pace that feels just right, slow enough that people aren't constantly being pushed forward, yet steady enough for society to function smoothly. Here, no one needs to prove they're busy in order to be valued. Belgians respect personal space in a very natural way. They don't intrude, they don't pry, but they are always willing to help when asked. Courtesy here isn't loud or performative. It comes from understanding boundaries and keeping the right distance. That alone creates a sense of ease and quiet security for newcomers. Mornings begin early but gently. Bakeries open at dawn, and the smell of freshly baked bread drifts into the cool, damp air. People stop by for their familiar loaf sip, a hot coffee, and move on with their day, unhurried, unforced. After work, the rhythm slows once again. A glass of craft beer is poured not to get drunk, but to close the day properly. The streets of Belgium are rarely noisy. Bicycles glide past cars, pedestrians stroll along cobblestone paths. Even in Brussels, the administrative heart of Europe, life feels orderly and calm rather than chaotic. Everything runs quietly, as if there's a shared agreement that life doesn't need to be loud to matter. And it's within this rhythm that many people realize why they choose to stay. Not flashy, but deeply enduring. 5. Cost of living high quality without showing off. Belgium doesn't sell you a cheap dream. What it offers instead is the sense that your money is being spent where it truly matters. No flash, no excess, just stability, transparency, and predictability. It starts with the everyday basics. A regular meal at a local restaurant costs around $18 to $22. It's not fine dining, but it's good enough that you can trust the ingredients and the service. A morning espresso or cappuccino typically falls between 2 to 3, not cheap by European standards, but consistent and reliable. You know what you're paying for, and there are rarely hidden surprises. Housing is the largest expense, and it reflects Belgium's long-term mindset. In city centers, a one-bedroom apartment usually ranges from $900 to $2,200, depending on the city and location. Step into the suburbs where public transport still works efficiently, and rents drop to around $700 and $900. Living spaces tend to be practical, well-insulated, and designed for real life, not for display. Monthly utilities and internet generally cost between $80 and $180, varying by season, but rarely causing shock. Public transportation is a major advantage. A monthly pass costs about $50,000 to $60, allowing easy movement across cities and surrounding areas without needing a car. Healthcare is where many people feel the difference most clearly. With mandatory but affordable insurance, a general doctor visit usually costs only $25 to $35. There's no fear of unexpected bills, no difficult choices between health and finances. The system is built so people seek care early, not only when things become serious. Compared to the United States, the difference isn't about being dramatically cheaper, it's about peace of mind. In Belgium, living costs don't constantly create anxiety or force you to prepare for financial shocks. You may not save more, but in return, you gain a life with less pressure, where major expenses rarely arrive unannounced. That's why many describe life in Belgium as high quality, without showing off a system solid enough to let you focus on living rather than merely surviving. 6. Welfare mobility and family life. One of the reasons many people are able to stay long-term in Belgium lies in how the welfare system quietly supports everyday life without fanfare, without promotion, but with real effectiveness. Public transportation in Belgium is designed for real life. Trams, buses, and trains form a well-connected network linking city centers, suburbs, and nearby towns. You don't need a private car to live fully. Everything runs on time, is easy to understand, and reliable enough that daily planning doesn't become a burden. Alongside this is a deeply rooted cycling culture. Bicycles are not just a means of transport, they represent a civilized choice. Dedicated lanes, clear traffic rules, and mutual respect make cycling safe, calm, and environmentally friendly. In terms of healthcare, insurance is mandatory but affordable. The system is built for long-term well-being, not just crisis response. This is especially important for middle-aged individuals who no longer want to trade peace of mind for lower costs. Public education in Belgium is free and of high quality, allowing small families to avoid early financial pressure from school fees. At the same time, a wide range of international schools teaching in English, French, or Dutch makes it easier for expat families to integrate without disrupting their children's education. For remote workers, all of this creates a stable foundation: strong internet, easy mobility, reliable healthcare, and a calm living environment. Not to chase rapid wealth, but to live steadily, sustainably, and with a clearer mind. In Belgium, welfare doesn't make you feel privileged. It simply allows you to worry less and live more. 7. Belgium through the seasons and festivals. Life in Belgium changes noticeably with the seasons, and each one carries its own emotional rhythm. This is a country where time doesn't flow evenly. It shifts tone with the weather, the light, and the way people move through the streets. Spring arrives gently and quietly. Parks turn green again, flowers bloom across town squares, and cities breathe more easily after the long winter. It's an ideal time for walking, cycling, and experiencing local life while tourist numbers are still low. Accommodation and daily costs are also more reasonable, especially from April to early May. Summer is when Belgium comes alive. Days are long, sunlight lingers, late café terraces spill onto the streets, and festivals follow one another without pause. The Ghent festivities, lasting more than 10 days in July, turn the entire city into an open-air stage. Brussels Beer Weekend brings dozens of craft beers to the Grand Place, drawing hundreds of thousands of visitors. This is the season of energy, but also the busiest and most expensive time of year. When autumn arrives, the pace softens. The forests of the Ardennes turn gold and red. The air becomes cooler and clearer, and crowds begin to fade. Cafes grow quieter, and the country feels more reflective. This season suits travelers who enjoy slowing down, lingering, and observing. In terms of cost, September and October are smart choices, pleasant weather, lower prices, and a deeper experience. Winter brings a distinctly European romance. Christmas markets light up cities like Brussels, Bruges, and Ghent with warm lights, hot mulled wine, and soft music. In special years, the flower carpet covers the Grand Place with hundreds of thousands of flowers, a rare event, but one that leaves a lasting impression. If you want to save money while still experiencing Belgium at its best, late spring and early autumn are ideal. Fewer crowds, gentler prices, and enough space to truly live within the rhythm of this country. 8. Cuisine, simple yet deeply rooted. Belgian cuisine doesn't try to impress. It isn't about flashy techniques or elaborate presentation. Like the people themselves, everything exists for a reason and is meant to be repeated generation after generation. Most stories begin with fries. It sounds simple, but in Belgium, fries are a point of national pride. They are fried twice, first at a lower temperature to cook them through, then again at higher heat to create a crisp outer layer. You buy them from a small street stand served in a paper cone, eaten hot while standing in an old town square. No table, no ceremony, just the right moment. Then there's moule frites, mussels, cooked with white wine celery and onions served alongside fries. A dish that feels modest, yet deeply tied to summer evenings and long conversations. Steam rises gently from the pot, blending with the sounds of voices around you. This is not food meant to be rushed. It's meant to be enjoyed slowly, when time allows you to stay. Carbonade tells the story of colder days. Beef slowly stewed in dark beer, lightly sweet, rich with malt. Each region prepares it differently. Each family guards its own version. This is food of patience, cooked slowly, eaten slowly, warming you from the inside out. And then come the waffles. Brussels waffles are light and airy, almost melting on the tongue. Liège waffles are denser, sweeter, with caramelized sugar on the outside. No elaborate toppings are needed. Just break off a warm piece as you walk along cobblestone streets. Finally, there is speculoos, a small spiced cookie often served beside a cup of coffee. A tiny detail, but in Belgium, memories often live in moments like this. Food here doesn't need to be reviewed. It only needs to be remembered. 9. Is Belgium right for you? Belgium doesn't promise paradise. It doesn't sell quick life transformations, and it isn't meant for those who crave noise, spectacle, or the feeling of always being at the center of the world. But if you're looking for stability, a place where life slows just enough so you don't feel constantly pushed forward, a society that values quality over quantity, where people aren't forced to run every day just to survive, then Belgium may be a choice worth serious consideration. Nothing here is perfect, but it is enduring. Enduring in the way cities are built, in how systems function, and in how people live together across generations. So the final question is this: if you could choose a rhythm of life instead of a flashy dream, would you choose Belgium? Comment yes or no to share your choice, and let me know which European country you'd like us to explore next. If this video gave you a new perspective, if it made you slow down even briefly and think more deeply about how you want to live, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay with the channel on future journeys. We don't promise paradise, we simply tell stories honest enough for you to choose your own path.